Hello YouTube. It is Friday, February 24th, 2023, and I already forgot what time it is. 6:04 p.m. I'm kind of groggy, kind of sleepy. Don't feel I've slept yet enough, but hopefully this interesting journey to work will be what it takes to wake me up. Oh. Vehicle just stopped in the middle of the road. Oh, yeah, actually.
Thank you, Gail. The freeway is getting better all the time around the valley. Still some slowing as you head through the downtown, coming off of the 202, starting at about 32nd Street. From there, you're on and off the brakes out through the tunnel. And then beyond that, you get a few pockets of slowing as you continue out toward the 101. Now, speaking of the I-10, south of the valley, still very slow.
And that's why I'm on McDowell. All right, so it is, it's, oh, I got a cough today. I'm feeling so hot. It's still Friday evening, 6:27 on my clock, so add 4 minutes, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 6:31 p.m. That equals I'm actually running a little late for work. I stopped at a Circle K. Stopped at the Circle K at 24th Street and McDowell, and yeah, checking out was painfully slow. I was wanting just to get my my Sip and Save drink, but they got the deal going on again where you can get Circle K branded drinks with the purchase, or sorry, Circle K branded snacks with the purchase of a drink for $1. So if you got the Sip and Save and you're grabbing a Circle K branded snack, total should be $1. So grab one of their original beef sticks. They're pretty decent, about the equivalent of a Slim Jim. And sorry, I'm just thinking to myself, equivalent to a Slim Jim, and thinking beef stick, and then the voice in my head is like, a Slim Jim is mechanically separated chicken. So it just says original snack stick. It's mystery meat. Holy crap! I just realized I have no idea what kind of meat is in that thing. That's a oddly unsettling thought. Anyway, it's meat. It's good for you. Eat it. Yeah, they're. I have no idea what kind of meat is in that. What the hell am I adjusting? I just know that I like them. That's terrible. Anyway, I knew it should have been $1. In fact, I got this exact same combo a couple days ago. Didn't get one the last couple days. I used my Sip and Save because I had no cash on me. I'm not really about swiping my card for $1. But I've got some cash on me because I got cash at the ATM last night on my way to the Wander Inn. So it's like, what the hell? Yeah, get my beef stick. They actually had an end cap with the Circle K snacks in it, and graphics promoting the whole deal by the soda fountain. And I go to the register, and they've got two of those new automated registers with the visual scanners that scans the items and totals everything up. And they've updated the software on that to where it lets you put in your phone number, and it works with the Sip and Save now. So that's a good thing. And they're really trying to push customers to use them. Because when they first put those in Circle K, I'm sure people didn't like using them at all, and I'm sure that Circle K management noticed that. Like management is in like corporate management. Hang on, I gotta check my traffic view real quick. I should be right back. All right, I'm back. That was just a few seconds of checking to see how the I-10 had progressed traffic-wise. It was looking like I might want to turn on 7th Avenue and catch the I-10. Probably not the whole way, but just for a few miles. And I was hoping it might get better between 16th Street and 7th Avenue, but it actually got worse. So I'm staying on McDowell. Not so fun at taking the stretch of McDowell, but I'm doing pretty good on it today. Sometimes it just seems like when I take the stretch of McDowell, I spend all my time just stopping at red lights, but not great, but it beats sitting. At least in my head, it beats sitting in traffic on I-10, bumper to bumper, not moving very well. So anyways, I was saying inside Circle K, I'm sure corporate realized that most Circle K customers were choosing not to use their automated checkout, and surely they spent a lot of money on that. So what they've been doing, I've noticed, to try to get people to use them, is having a cashier stand behind two of them, because the people will approach the cashiers and the cashier just kind of direct people how to use them. It seems like an odd maneuver, but it's working, especially if they don't have a cashier actually working one of the regular registers. Now, I've been one who's tried to use those. I always try to use new technology when it's available, until it gives me reason not to use it. And those automated checkout things at Circle K have given me multiple reasons not to use them. I know, I'm just trying to think of reasons over the last year and a half since they've existed that I've tried to use them and ended up not completing the transaction because it didn't come out right. I like to buy stuff out of the clearance bin. Most of the time it doesn't recognize the price changes on those. I know in the past I had problem paying with my EBT card. Not that I have an EBT card anymore, but when I did, I had trouble paying. I had trouble using my EBT card. Sorry, I had to have some of my Mountain Dew. Sitting there talking about my trip to Circle K and needed that. Forgot to get a straw. That was brilliant. Anyway, sorry, they're talking about Brittany Griner coming back to the Mercury. It was kind of sucking my brain in, saying it's probably going to be a media circus when they're playing in away games, since she's back from Russia. Since a lot of people prior to the whole thing of her getting arrested for having THC vape cartridges on her in Russia, prior to that, most people didn't know who she was. So, you know, and the way conservative media handled that really bothered me. Just, I mean, I don't like the way that was handled. I thought it was really screwed up that, you know, if any other non-celebrity American would have been arrested for that in Russia, we'd still be in a Russian jail. Particularly since they offered to release an armed serviceman who is also in a Russian prison for more. I don't even know what he's in there for, but they, you know, had a chance to get him and they didn't. They just got a basketball player, and I guess what bothered me about the whole thing is that so often it was presented as if, oh well, she's nobody, and then people were like, oh well, she's just some crappy basketball player. I'm not a huge sports fan, but I live in Phoenix, and I catch enough local sports highlights to know that no, she's actually a really good basketball player. So it did bother me when coverage of her fiasco in Russia and then the bullshit government response to it, it did bother me that they were discounting and misrepresenting her significance as a basketball player. Anyway, sorry, that just completely sidetracked me. It caught my ear. I was trying to talk about what happened with Circle K. So anyway, so yeah, in the past, the machine hasn't recognized clearance items that have clearance prices on them. It has refused to accept my EBT card. It also refused to take my phone number and recognize my sip and save. And it's also, I remember actually vlogging about this when I went to the one over on 7th Street in Missouri. Refused to, it's the exact same thing it did to me today, where it refused to accept the, refused to give me the discount sale price on, in fact, this exact item on the meat stick, the mystery meat stick, and that cashier's solution, because there was not another cashier working an actual register, that cashier's solution was to tell me to go grab another meat stick and not swipe it. So basically, she told me to, what I felt, shoplift a beef stick, because of course if it doesn't get scanned, it doesn't get accounted for in inventory. I've worked enough retail to understand that. But in her head, that was the best way to rectify the fact that it was overcharging me 59 cents. And I quickly did the math, and I'm like, okay, instead of getting one meat stick for instead of getting one meat stick for $1, I'm getting two for $1.59. Yes, please. I just rolled with it, but still, the thing, like, it struck me as a really awkward, you know, and I know if I was her manager, I would be happy to find out that was her solution to that, and I would be bothered that the machine was regularly overcharging my customers. Certainly, I've heard stories on, I listen to a lot of news radio, mostly KTAR, and I've heard stories where they're talking about how I forget if it was the city or the county, or which agency it is, or sorry, the state or the county. I want to believe it was state. The state was doing an investigation into places overcharging customers, like having one price posted on items or advertised prices, but then charging people higher prices at the register. The average person doesn't really pay that close of attention to what their total should be. The average person just, you know, they say the total is, swipe their card, move on with their life. And it's fraudulent to do that, other businesses. Now, I don't think Circle K is doing it with ill intent. I just think whoever's programming the machines just needs to get their shit together. Okay, I talked about taking this route a couple weeks ago and said I wanted to do it one of these days and actually get some video of it, but I think this is a cool view on the southbound access road, which totally feels like a freeway right here. There's no pedestrian access, and going underneath I-10 and all those ramps of the stack. Got a freeway entrance to the southbound I-17, and then there's another freeway ramp up above. Got a wall on the right, big cemetery on the other side of that wall. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this entire stretch is designated as no pedestrian access. There's certainly not a sidewalk there if it isn't. Although I see gates going into the cemetery here, so. Anyway, I took this going to work recently, and I was impressed by what a quick route this was to bounce me from McDowell down to Van Buren, and just how cool it looked going underneath the stack there, seeing all those ramps. Driving what was like functionally a 1 mile stretch of freeway, even though it's not freeway, and seeing all those ramps above as I drove it. Anyway, so as I was saying, yeah, Circle K I don't think has any ill attempt. I just think it's just sloppiness, and same with the other retailers, you know, that they mentioned in that report that were caught, and some of them I guess fined for improperly overcharging people with their automated checkouts or with their checkouts in general. I'm trying to get this camera a little straighter. It's just crooked today. Oh, and I don't know if you all have noticed that my video's been shimmying way more than normal. I'm having an issue with the camera, and the iPhone is the only phone I have that functions right now, so until I can get another phone going, Yeah, it's going to be like this. My apologies. I'm going to try to get it handled, but right now my priority is trying to do as many 60-hour weeks at Amazon as I can and stack up that money and try to, well, I'm not even really stacking up that money. I'm just handling debt that I have and trying to get those balances down so I can't quit getting just beat up by interest charges every month. I feel like I've made quite a bit of progress in the last couple months with it, so that's a good thing. Anyway, yeah, same exact thing as what the last time, except for instead of the guy offering to give me a free beef stick like the last beef or whatever kind of meat it is stick, like the cashier on 7th Street, when I told the guy that it was when it gave me a total of like $1.59, I said, no, my total is supposed to be $1 even. He seemed kind of like shocked that I would tell him that, like, well, that's not what the machine says. Like, it's funny how like so many of the cashiers are just mentally assume, well, whatever the machine says is right. Like, has it not occurred to you that machine could give a wrong total? And do you not feel it's your job to fix that total? To be fair, he probably doesn't have the capacity to do it, and that's a problem. So when I called him out on that, he tapped something on his screen, and apparently he saw that he couldn't fix it. And his response to me, after I waited in the line to get to that machine, his response to me was that I needed to go to the other cashier, which when I got in line, there wasn't even another cashier over there. At least I didn't notice another cashier over there. So I ended up, anyway, it ended up being a big freaking waste of my time. I did get my mystery meat stick and my soda out the door for $1, which is the important thing. But yeah, I spent a lot more time doing it than I really should have at a certain pay. And now it's 6:48, so I'm probably going to be late getting to work.
Though he believes a helping hand and a first step in the right direction.
And they're talking about the homelessness crisis.
We're doing the best we can, and that's why I try to tell people, like, it's not like I have all the answers or I can fix it or whatever, but like, I'm not going to leave your side.
Bowen Overstoles, KTAR News.
Today on the Gatos and Chat Show, Arizona lawmakers want your kids to do something blatantly illegal. Here's a bit of that segment.
Should your kid say the Pledge of Allegiance? Let me rephrase that. Should your kid be forced to say the Pledge of Allegiance?
I'm going to say yes and no.
Now, I know that when my wife was teaching for almost 30 years, they would say that in class.
I used to say it as a kid.
I did too.
I don't have a problem with it, but no, I don't think you should be forced to say anything.
Agreeing with Chad 100% right now.
Says it's aimed at forcing Arizona's public school students to recite it. They want it done each day. It's passed the State House this week.
It'll be DOA the minute it gets to her desk.
It's illegal, by the way. The bill is blatantly illegal. But again, when you have, like, Democrats and Republicans, they do this all the time.
How can lawmakers not look at that and realize that is completely against the First Amendment?
No, will never see the light of day, but they do it anyway. What do you call it? Virtue signaling? Yeah.
I call it wasting time and wasting my tax money.
Compulsory unification of opinion achieves the only unanimity of a graveyard, wrote Justice Robert H. Jackson in the court's opinion, famously adding, if there is any fixed star in our constitutional constellation, it is that no official, high or petty, can prescribe what shall be orthodox in matters of politics, nationalism, religion, or other matters of opinions, or for citizens to confess by word or act their faith therein. That went all the way back to the Supreme Court, West Virginia State Board versus Education and Barnett. So, and that was 1943.
That's a well-written opinion.
The fight for this for many years was under God was the thing. Right. And now this is being forced. No. And we're a state that wants states' rights, and the kids, parents, you want choice. I want choice in a lot of things when it comes to education, to pay attention to it. And I don't want my kids being forced to do this. Now, if I would tell them it's absolutely fine to do it, and I would do it, but you shouldn't be made to do it.
And I think you could tell your kid could be like, should I say this?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with them. I mean, I'm all for saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm all for it being something that happens in classrooms. But if for some reason a child doesn't want to say it for whatever reason, yeah, that's American freedom of speech. That's blatantly unconstitutional, and it disgusts me that our local lawmakers waste time on this kind of crap when there's so many things that need to be taken care of in the state, like the homelessness crisis, which I didn't catch any of the meat and potatoes of that article. I just barely heard the blah 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 homelessness crisis and tried to turn it up to see if I could hear what they were talking about. You know, and I completely dropped the ball when I was trying to follow that case where the business owners and landowners around the zone were suing the city of Phoenix. I have no idea where that went. Just kind of got too busy with my own life to put any time into that, unfortunately. But I do occasionally see things in YouTube about more action happening there. I know they recently did a cleanup and that came under fire, saying that basically people's belongings were being improperly just thrown away. Now, it's my personal opinion that people who are homeless, and this is coming from a person who has been homeless on more than one occasion, need to be responsible enough to not be dragging more shit along with them than what they can carry. And for reasons that I still can't fathom, so many homeless people just have this thing of just accumulating piles of garbage wherever they're squatting. And I guess that's kind of a difference. Generally speaking, when I was homeless, I didn't really have a regular place that I squatted. I always kind of tried to stay on the move, unless you know, unless I was functionally couch surfing. And even then, I tried. Whenever I was couch surfing, I was appreciative of somebody letting me crash on their couch, or if she was cute in her bed, and or if she was not cute in her bed, and never wanted to burden that person with me having a bunch of crap at their place. So I always tried to be very, very extremely minimalist when I was transient. And so yeah, when I see how much crap people are accumulating down at the zone, I'm a little low on sympathy on, you know, well, they're throwing your stuff out because you got a whole bunch of garbage just here littering the street. Like, I know you feel that's your stuff, but you need to, this is not the place for it. And the video, the chapter of my vlog from a couple of weeks ago, when I was on my way out to work and there were two homeless people at the dumpster directly behind my, well, not the dumpster, but across the alley from the dumpster, directly behind my apartment, rummaging through the bulk trash, trying to decide what garbage they were going to pick up and take to wherever. That one's got nearly 500 views, which isn't a lot of views, but it's a lot of views for something on my channel. And I thought that was kind of interesting, because people will often ask in the comments on videos about homelessness of, you know, where do they get all this crap? Where do they get all this? If they're homeless, where are they getting all this crap from? There you go. That's where they're getting it from. Bulk trash that the city hasn't picked up yet, digging in people's dumpsters. Anyway, it's a fine line, and it's a problem that doesn't have an easy solution, because it's a very, very layered problem, and just simply give them housing is not a solution when you consider that not all, but a large majority of those people are just really messed up on drugs these days, mostly fentanyl. That said, the very beginning of my video, of this vlog, where I start walking down the street and I'm like, hey, what's up with that? And then I cut it off real quickly. should explain that. I should have started by explaining that. It ended up being my next door neighbor who was asking if I needed a ride. I totally didn't recognize his vehicle, which made me feel like an idiot. It just looks different when it's not in the carport. You know, and I saw him getting the mail, and for some reason I thought he was the mailman dropping off the mail. And it should have been obvious to me that he wasn't, because he wasn't in a postal carrier vehicle. But I know some mail carriers, especially contract mail carriers, use their own vehicle. So I don't know. I didn't give it too much thought. I just simply didn't recognize him. Keep in mind, my vision is not so good, especially at distances these days. I did not recognize him at the mailbox, and I didn't recognize his vehicle. So when he pulled over and was calling out to me, it was kind of an awkward thing. But as soon as I realized who it was, he asked if I needed a ride. I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. But of course, you know, before I approached his vehicle, I stopped recording video, because that would have been awkward. But so I appreciate the ride. You know, I just almost heading to the Wander Inn. I don't know where he was going, but I mean, you know, I've walked to the Wander Inn numerous times. Now, granted, I didn't give myself enough time to do that, but that wasn't my plan to go to work today. My plan, which kind of got approved by my neighbor offering me a ride over the Wander Inn, was which I left my car at last night. But that's another story I'm not going to have time to go into detail on between here and work. Wow, I see a whole lot of blinky lights ahead. That's not good. Why does the guy in the middle lane have his right blinker on? Because he's turning right from the middle lane. Smooth maneuver, dude. Sorry, I needed a moment to regroup and figure out exactly where I was. That whole emergency vehicle and the dude turning right from the middle lane kind of threw me off a little bit. Anyway, what I was planning on doing was taking advantage of Spin Scooter's expanded coverage area and riding a Spin Scooter to get my car at the Wander Inn. I've been really jonesing to ride a Spin Scooter since they've expanded their coverage area, and that seemed like a good reason to do it. And I fired up their app earlier this morning. I was going to do that in the morning, and yeah, didn't. Ended up like climbing back in bed and decided I'd rather just lay down for a while than ride a scooter right now. But I opened the app. It immediately told me I needed to verify my age and made me scan my driver's license, which was a pretty painless procedure. I felt it was a little invasive, but I can understand Spin's, you know, reason for wanting to do that. So that's fine. Did it. And after I got past that unexpected extra step, I looked at the map and was a little taken back as to where the scooters were near my home. Now there was one over at the strip mall at Arcadia Crossing in front of Burlington Coat Factory, and granted I could have walked there, but that's a little farther. But the nearest to me was a cluster of 5. I want to say it was 4 scooters and a bicycle, right there at the Little Growing Homeless encampment, right at the northwest corner of Pierce Park. And had my neighbor not picked me up, that's where I was walking to. That's what that video was supposed to be. It was me walking to that Little Growing Homeless camp and seeing what it was going to be like to check out a scooter there. Now, granted, I wouldn't have been able to film the whole thing because I would have needed to stop my camera app while I scanned my scooter. But since I don't have a second phone to do that with right now, but I guess that's going to have to be an adventure for another time. So, not turning down a free ride with the neighbor, and I really appreciated the gesture. So, anyway, I'm here. It is 6:57 on my clock, so 7:01. I'm a minute late clocking in, which means I got about 4 minutes to get to the time clock. Of course, now that I more thoroughly understand the time policy and how to work it in the A to Z app, I'm not stressing that at all. I mean, if I'm 6 or 7 minutes late, I just put a little PTO on it on my first break. So, actually, my biggest stress on showing up to work late isn't getting, you know, it has nothing to do with pay. It has nothing to do with you know, policy or, oh my God, you're going to be penalized for being late. It's not that at all. Right now, with the exception of Sundays, for some reason, every other night there's an abundance of trained forklift drivers showing up wanting to work in outbound MP. Now, at this point, I'm one of the top drivers, if not the top driver, since a lot of the drivers have moved to a different warehouse to be part of Tom Team. I've gotten an internal promotion for that. But because there's so many people showing up, if I'm not there for stand-up, those positions get handed out, and I end up having to go somewhere else and work something else that I'm not as happy to be doing. So, oh, sorry, dude. So yeah, I need to. Okay, there's a spot on the right, on the other side there. So yeah, I need to get my ass in the building as quick as I can. Anyway, on that note, thanks for coming along on the ride and hearing me out as I jump from topic to topic like some guy who has some sort of crazy mental problem, because I am. And like and subscribe if you enjoy listening to me talk to myself, because I will be back with more, at least until YouTube shuts me down.